Rocker Ian McDonald, who founded legendary groups Foreigner and King Crimson, has passed away aged 75. The UK-born musician been suffering from cancer and died surrounded by his family, his son Max said. He was incredibly brave and never lost his kindness or his sense of humor even when the going was rough, he wrote on Facebook. My father was a brilliant, intuitive musician, a gentle soul, and a wonderful dad. He will live on forever through his beautiful music and the love of his fans. McDonald wrote and played keyboards and saxophone on King Crimson's iconic debut album In the Court of the Crimson King. The 1969 LP was described as prog rock's Big Bang by Rolling Stone. US guitarist Steve Stevens called the album the most important recording in progressive rock. At times dissonant chaos followed by aching beauty. McDonald then formed Foreigner, playing guitar on classic songs including Cold as Ice, Double Vision, and Feels Like the First Time in the late 1970s. But he left the group before they went on to enjoy further success in the 1980s with hits such as Waiting for a Girl Like You and I Want to Know What Love Is. Fellow Foreigner co-founder Al Greenwood paid tribute to him, saying, "He was like a brother to me." A true musical genius, Ian's musicianship was an integral part of launching both King Crimson and Foreigner into legendary status. His contribution to Foreigner's success was immense. Ian was a dear friend, a kind and wonderful man, and I will miss him terribly. Born in Isleworth, now Greater London, in 1946, McDonald played guitar as a teenager and served 5 years in the British Army as a bandsman before joining King Crimson in 1969. While in the Army, he also learned clarinet, flute, saxophone, and musical notation as he developed his craft. After King Crimson's breakout performance supporting the Rolling Stones in Hyde Park on July 5, 1969, they released their debut album to widespread critical acclaim. Rapper Kanye West even sampled McDonald's distinctive saxophone from the song 21st Century Schizoid Man on his 2010 single Power. When he was interviewed later about the album by Ultimate Classic Rock, he said he wasn't surprised it had held up for more than half a century. When we made it and I was basically at the forefront of the production, I wanted to make sure everything that went into the record would bear repeated listening and hopefully stand the test of time. At the end of 1969, however, the band split, with McDonald and drummer Michael Giles going on to release a poppier-sounding prog album, McDonald and Giles, in 1970. In 1974 he briefly rejoined King Crimson before the band again went their separate ways. He formed Foreigner in 1976 alongside Brit guitarist Mick Jones and US singer Lou Gramm. McDonald appeared on their first 3 albums, each of which went 5 times platinum before he was sacked in 1980 by Jones, much to his disappointment. "I wouldn't have left," he told Big Bang magazine. "I loved the group, it was not my decision." He would later play with the band in reunion shows. In total, McDonald appeared on 4 of the biggest-selling albums of 1969 to 1979. He also played saxophone on T-Rex's classic 1971 glam rock album Electric Warrior. The trailer for an upcoming documentary about King Crimson briefly features McDonald becoming emotional and apologizing to fellow band member Robert Fripp for breaking his heart by leaving the band. Explaining his decision to quit just as the band were taking off, McDonald said, "I was probably not emotionally mature enough to handle it and I just made a rather rash decision to leave without consulting anyone. I have trouble processing time in terms of years and weeks and months," he told Billboard, reflecting on his career. "I mean, it's 40 years for Foreigner, almost 50 years for King Crimson. It's a lot of good work, though." He died at his home in New York on February 9, his family said.